as a whole, and also on the members of Mudumo SDA Church. So construction of the new sanctuary there is ongoing, but as we speak now, it's much slower than when we were there. Families that make up the community now drink clean water. Little children at the Miwani primary school and secondary schools know more about Jesus. Children, women, and men from the community and those that came from far now are pain-free thanks to the amazing work that Dr. Uta did. So they appreciate that. Also, the good news was brought to the community by our pastor through evangelism series. So the people there cannot express the gratitude and cannot express enough the gratitude and appreciation expressed by them and members of the Mudumo SDA Church. So I believe one of us, or all of us, were impacted by this mission trip. I personally learned a lot, and upon return, I had to stop, reflect, and consider what God was really saying to us during this mission trip. I learned that God can use you in many different ways to bring people together or closer to Him. So I'm sure you're eager to learn more about the work we did. Everyone participated in the daily activities we did. So construction will be presented by Luke and Cortland, VBS by Sylvia and Debbie. We also had VBS for the high school, which will be presented by Cortland and Luke and Hannah, I believe, and Luke. Water filters distribution will be presented by Hannah. Visit to the orphanage by Clarissa and Cece. We also had goods distribution will be presented by Karen. Home visit and family health talk will be presented by Judy. Medical and dental mission work will be presented by Dr. Gabriel Uta. Safari by Matt and Max. And then evangelism and hospitality by our pastor, John Piroski. So I finally want to say that God's work and good things can come out of our fellowship lunch that we normally have here Sabbath day, every Sabbath. We cannot, or I cannot thank Mike Utiano enough for starting this project. Even though, Mike, you couldn't make it there, we were thinking about you, and we thank you so much. So we can start with construction with Cortland.
Good morning, happy Sabbath. So as you can see, my brother's not really here. But we both worked together to write up this report. He really wishes he could be here today. As you already know, I'm talking about construction. And for this project, we were tasked with building a church for the village and surrounding villages and communities. They didn't really have a really solid church building that they could use to worship every Sabbath. When we arrived on the job site, there was basic equipment and supplies such as bricks, wheelbarrows, bags of dry cement mix, hand tools, and a foundation. We were literally going to be building this church from the ground up, well, the foundation up. Every morning after breakfast and worship, breakfast was around 7 o'clock every morning. We would walk to the job site. It was approximately 5 to 10 minutes away on foot, and all right. So yeah, that's what the job site looked like with just the foundation and the rebar. And down here you can see my brother working right there. That was on day one. So we would arrive around 8:30 to 9 every day, and the workers would have already started by the time that we got there every single day. We were given different tasks on different days. These tasks included laying brick and mortar, mixing cement, watering the walls, cutting rebar, bending rebar, laying troughs, bringing mortar through wheelbarrow, and more. And yeah, that was really cool. Like how you see like farm animals every single day just like walking down the road. It's just commonplace there. It was really crazy. Is also up there. It looks like he's helping mix cement. And then here we're working on the walls. And then this is, I don't know how many days this had been, but it was definitely further along. The walls were about a little over half done at that point. There's even me up there. I'm laying brick. Oh yeah, and that's David right there. And by the time we finished, this is what it looked like. So by the time we left, we had nearly finished all of the walls, and we'd started the cement ring. And as we left, our prayer was that the building would be completed and be a blessing and place of peace and hope. Oh, and now Sylvie's going to talk about VBS.
Well, the experience, I think, so for everybody was great. My experience started when the pastor told me here that I'm going to be in charge of 400 kids. And I said, Pastor, I'm not going. And he said immediately, it's too late. You have to go. So you can imagine, I thought, okay, I had been in the school teaching, but not for 400. So it was a little, I didn't know exactly how to expect everything, but anyway, we got there, and our first bumpy road to the school, because it was really bumpy, really dusty, but it was so fun because the kids were already out of the class. They finished at 3:30. So they were waiting outside. When they saw us coming, everybody started running. It was so emotional for us to see it. I had actually the blessing to be with Anna, Hannah, Gordon, and Luke, and David at the beginning, because they took the 200 kids from high school. So that one was a big relief for me. So I have only, and they divided the upper primary and the lower primary. So I have only the kids from the upper primary. There was around 80, 90 kids in the classroom. So you can see in one of the classroom, I am with almost 80 kids in the classroom. And you can see the benches are 3 kids per bench, and so it's not much space to do stuff, but it was really fun. I asked them to sing in Swahili. I asked them to teach me something in Swahili. So they gave me, well, family, I receive a Kamba name, right? My name is Silvia Muende. And this is my La Rondo, of course, but I mean, Muende is my...
With the students. And this was on one of the Sabbaths. I think it was the second Sabbath there. The students came and they sang, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, we got to take pictures with them. And working with high school, it was definitely a different experience. I'd never experienced anything like that. Construction, I could kind of relate to my previous mission trips, but I'd never done VBS this deeply. And yeah, that's just me with some of them. And so something that I can tell you about this is that for the 3rd week, there originally was not going to be a VBS for the high school. We were going to end it for the high school, but just continue with like the younger kids. But I really wanted to keep hanging out with them and getting to know them and being able to show them things. Like, for example, I actually brought my cello for a few of the days, and they really were into that because they'd never even seen one before. They thought it was a guitar. And even after I told them what it was called, they just kept calling it a guitar. So it was definitely a learning experience for them. But yeah, they really like to watch me play, so I bring it for them and I play for them. And they had so many questions about America, about how to get there, country. I got to know them like on a personal level. And I was even able to get some of their numbers, and like we use WhatsApp to communicate every now and then. And yeah, it was such a cool experience to get to know somebody from another country that well. So it was really a blessing. Huh? Oh, I did get a Kamba name. Thanks for reminding me. So we all got Kamba names, and mine was Ngui, and that means like musician, right? It's like a soloist or a singer. And yeah, so that was the name that they gave me. I had some options, and that's the one that I chose. All right. But yeah, it was definitely a blessing. It was so cool to go on this trip. Thank you.
So I was in charge of the third week of Vacation Bible School. And we had 3 teams that we worked with. One team was Judy and one of the locals, David and Cece. The other team was Karen, Clarissa, Max, and Matt. And then the other team was Mick, me, and Aunt Janet. And the first team, Judy's team, they did Bible studies, songs, and certificates at the end of Vacation Bible School. Karen's team, they did the outside activities. They did bubbles. The kids were so fascinated with those bubbles that you guys donated. They thought they were the coolest thing. And they also ball because they played with it so hard while we were there. And even though they were doing the outside activities, they taught the kids they told them to be kind, to share, to do their best in everything that they did. They did get a message out to them. The third group, which was my group, we did coloring pages, and every time we gave them a page to color, we would tell them the story relating to that picture, whether it was David in the lion's den or Daniel or whatever the story was that day. And like Sylvia said about the school supplies, that touched me as well. They had 1 pencil, 1 pen. Their notebook, they made themselves out of scrap paper. It was unlined. They were such beautiful children. They had beat up backpacks that they thought were gold because they had a backpack. Their uniforms, they all had uniforms because they all went to like a private school. That was the majority of the people, majority of the kids in Africa all went to private schools. So each school had their own color of uniforms. And they were just such wonderful children. They were so excited about the crayons. Oh my goodness, they were practically fighting over the crayons. And then when we were done with our little presentation there, we donated all the crayons to the school that you guys had donated. The headmaster, which is right here in the bottom picture, was so thankful for everything that we had done for these children. I think we had about 50, 60 kids amongst us. They were 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. The kids' voices, like Sylvia said, they were like angels. You would come in and they would recite their prayer, they would sing. It was just so awesome. I think I received much more of a blessing from this than the kids did. And I was just so honored to be able to share this with my daughter, Clarissa. It was just so special. It was an experience of a lifetime, and I can't wait to do it again.
Hello, church. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Hannah, and I was so blessed to go on my second mission trip. It was my first time in Kenya and my first mission trip with my dad this past July. I have to truthfully say that it was the best experience of my life. I want to go back so badly. One of the main things that we were able to provide for the people there was water filters. All the filters came to us in parts that were disassembled in little bags. So as a group, we spent most of our first day in Kenya just putting all the filters together. It was a really tedious process. There was a team working on drilling holes into the buckets that were bought in Kenya, and then from there, the buckets would be brought to a tent where the rest of us would actually be like putting the filters together. We created sort of like an assembly line. Some of us would be twirling the little pieces together and making sure they were all tight and in order. Then they would give those filters to the rest of us, which would actually take them and attach them to the buckets, put the stickers on the buckets and all that. It was basically the first time that we had a bonding experience as a group on the trip. And not only do I have to say I got to know these people from the group a lot better from the time that we spent putting filters together in a tent, but some of the local church members and people from the community just showed up and ended up helping us a lot. It was so nice that they came, and we were so grateful, and it was where we got to meet some of them for the first time. The first place that we actually got to distribute some of the water filters was a nearby elementary school called the Mutumo Primary School in Machakos County. Once we got there, we were given a quick tour of the school, and we were given a quick tour of the school, and then we gave a presentation on how to use the filters and how to make them last to their full capacity of 10 plus years to all the people that were present. We were able to give a filter to each of the teachers, each of the families represented in the school, a couple of local officers and officials, as well as to leave a couple of filters directly for the school to use on a daily basis. Visiting that humble school and making friends with all of the happy children that were there was one of the first instances where it actually hit me to see how fortunate I am. Because I don't want to cry in front of you, I'm just going to say that I felt so blessed, and those people did so much more for me than I did for them. The rest of the filters were distributed to a couple of different places and people. We gave some to another nearby school, the school where we had our VBS. We also gave some to an orphanage that went to Kenya. I'd just like to thank everyone who donated toward these water filters. We were able to give about 410 filters to people in the community, and each filter can provide for a family of 8, so that's a total of 3,280 people that now have access to clean, safe, and drinkable water. Without all your donations and prayers, this could not have been possible on their lives. Even now, people have been WhatsApping me and my dad, and I'm sure other people here, just saying how grateful they are that they now have clean water and praising God for providing for their needs. Going to Kenya for this mission trip was the best experience of my life. I want to personally thank everyone here who made it financially possible for me and the rest of the group to go and do this mission, as well as to thank everyone who prayed for us. To close, I just want to really encourage anyone here, if you ever have the chance to go on any mission trip, do it. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
The name of the orphanage that we visited was Cherry's Children's Support Center, and it was founded by Reverend Leah for a safe place for children to live if they could not continue living with their families. When we visited, they had 57 children in their care that ranged from 2 years old to teenagers, and they also had some children in high schools that were boarding, so they were not at the orphanage when we visited. During one of our visits, we gave all the children goodie bags of some of the things that the church did donate. They had stickers and crayons and pencils, so each child was able to have.
So at the orphanage, we also handed out bunnies and washcloths that I had purchased like after Easter time to give out to the kids. They were like jumping around, holding them up, thanking me, laughing. They called them teddy bears because in Africa they don't have bunnies, so they didn't really know what they were. So after we handed out the bunnies, we went on a tour of the grounds. First, I think, first we went to the bedrooms where they had all their bunk beds. All of the kids had their bunnies tucked into the beds. I thought it was so cute. Storage, and the storage that they did have was like overflowing because they didn't have enough of it. Some would put like their like shoes and clothes and stuff like up in like the wood or whatever, rafters that held up the roof, which I thought was kind of sad because I feel like they should have some place where they feel that they can put their stuff where it'll be safe instead of just like, I don't know, up on a piece of wood. The next place we went to was the greenhouse. That's where they like planted all their vegetables and stuff that they would eat. They had like green beans, spinach, collard greens, all sorts of other vegetables, peas. After the greenhouse, we went to the kitchen. In the kitchen, they had one stove where they did all their cooking. Nothing really else was in the kitchen except for that one stove. After they were done with their dishes, they would have to go outside and wash them by hand in a bucket. There was this one girl, she was sitting in the library, and the library had no books whatsoever, just one table, a couple chairs. This one girl was sitting there and she was just doing her homework there. She said, "Oh, it's a library, like, this is where I do my homework all the time, where I go for like some place for like quiet time." So yeah, I was just surprised that they didn't have books. So I think we donated some children's books that they could read, like about Moses and Daniel in the lion's den and all those stories from the Bible. Yeah, it was a great experience. They were so sweet. They wanted to hold our hands. They thought our white skin was very interesting. They would just stare at our hands and hold them. We played games with them. We played a game where we had a bucket and we took like a bowl of water. We had to run it out to another bucket and see who could fill up the most without spilling it.
Happy Sabbath. First, my name is Karen, and as many of you know, I was born and raised in Kenya. So when I look at these pictures, I see myself. I went to schools that looked like that. I had classes of 80 plus, but maybe I was the lucky one that could afford the textbook, that had clean water, that had other things that people don't have, but that doesn't take the needs of our community away. I arrived a week after the larger group had arrived because of kids' schedules, but there were a lot of things that the missionaries did. One of the things that was done was distribution of food at the Terry Children's Center. And one of the things you have to recognize for this orphanage, every single kid living there has been a victim of sexual victimization. Most of them by family members, and some of the kids are victims because their parents are dead from the AIDS epidemic. And so they got a lot of food, and they still cannot express the gratitude because we take food for granted, but over there, having a meal is how people measure wealth. If you can eat 3 times a day, then you are rich. We had a lot of time going out to the villages, especially on my in-laws' side, and we went to a lot of homes. Debbie will tell you the terrain is hilly and crazy, and it was hot. But we went to many, many places. But is there a shirt for my husband? The grandmothers would say, is there something for my grandkid? And I had to sit down and think. We're in a society where everything is about me, myself, and I. And even when the women were sitting there with tattered clothes, they were not thinking about themselves. Some of them were thinking about husbands who leave early in the morning to go and get drunk and don't contribute to the family, but still they had enough left to think of somebody else. And to me, I looked at things very, very differently, and it was extremely touching, and it was every single family we visited. Everybody wanted us to give them something for somebody else instead of taking one thing for themselves. And even it was very hard for them to pick something for themselves. On my, Mudumbo Village, I think we visited a lot of families. And we did also give water filters. The kids all gave the books. The kids presented. I have to tell you, we have the greatest youth in this church. I would take them anywhere, anytime with me. They were extremely involved and really made more impact than the adults, I believe. One of the other things that we gave, we also were able to, at the end, Omo Church projector and the fields for the Sabbath school. And you could have seen people's gratitude. So for us, we were giving them an old filter. Not an old filter, but an old projector. And to them, it was, again, as people describe gold. It was what you cannot believe. The fields. Kids just read theory in Kenya. You know, I went through 8th grade, and people would teach you about floss. And I don't know who else, except a few kids who even knew what floss looks like. People hear things in theory and don't even know what it looks like. And you saw also, one of the biggest things that you saw was how people had so much to give. And the one thing that I kept thinking about was the widow's offering. And you know the verse, Mark 12:41, verse 44. And verse 44 is what really kept, touched my heart, because Jesus said they all gave out of their wealth, but she out of poverty put in everything she had to live for. So the people that went on the third trip, every single home we visited, even the ones that were made just of straw, before we would leave, everybody would say, wait a minute before you leave. And they would go into their house and give us something to take with. You would look and say, there's absolutely nothing in this house that they can give us. But every single place, they had more than enough to give back. And how many times do we have people in our own homes and we are going, no, I'm not going to offer you anything because, that was my last one. For them, they have so much that they are able to give to others. And to me, that was the biggest impact I think I had. And I kept thinking, when we were going to Kenya, like, I'm going to make an impact on people's lives and I'm going to change something. And I don't think I did any of that. They changed my life. They changed how I look at things. I grew up, but I've never had that sort of experience in my own villages. And the reverse happened for me. We came back a few days before school started. And every single year, my kids want a new backpack, they want new shoes, they want whatever it is they want. So I told them, we are going school shopping. They looked at me and they said, we don't need anything. We have everything. I had to force my 6th grader to get him gym shoes because he needed gym shoes. He told me I have enough. And I didn't have to say anything. It was them walking in those villages with me, looking at people and understanding how blessed we are. The kids sitting in the library, they don't know what a library looks like. It's just theory. So if I can sit in an empty building and read a book to them, that's a library. So I think as a church, we cannot thank you enough for what you did and what through you allowed us to do. I will tell you right now, I get a lot of calls, especially from my mom's side. We were able to go to my own church, and we visited 7 of the neediest families in the community. And one of the places we went, I'm sure Judy will remember, there was not even a compound where we could sit. So we had to go and walk to the garden and sit under a mango tree. And that specific lady, she has 7 kids. The husband walked out. She has no job. She has a house of 3 rooms. I don't know where all of them live. We got into their house. He had a seat of 3. She has been sending my mom, and she keeps saying, please have them come back during the good times. The good times is when it's raining. And she wants you to go when she has something in the gardens that she can give back, because she feels you went out of your way to go see her, and you had no business doing that. And the impact that Elmhurst Church has done to those 2 villages is indescribable. And so I have to thank all of you for allowing us to do God's work through you. And the people of Mudumo and Musoa Village, thank you very much. So thank you.
Jambo. Jambo means hello in Swahili. I was in charge of the family talks and the visitations, and the family talks were about our daily lives, which, of course, as you can see, is completely different to our experiences here in the States. And so it was so fulfilling to see people that, I am not a family therapist by no means, but they were there because they wanted to learn, because everything that we had, they thought it was important. They thought that it was a gift. They thought that it was for giving, something that I thought that it was important, not just for the people to listen, but, something to apply to their daily lives. And it was very, like I said, fulfilling to hear them sometimes say, I like what you said, because the place where they live is so remote. We did 8 presentations on a daily basis, and like I said, people were eager to hear what we had to give to them, to bring and enrich their lives some ways. The visitations, it was a way for us to learn their traditions, their customs, the way they live. We did visit 56 households, and every single person wanted us to come and visit them because that's their tradition. They said that the community there, they visit everybody all the time, each other. And when one person is not receiving any more visitors, they start thinking that there is something wrong. It was an honor for them to receive us in their home. Their homes, 2 or 3 probably had normal structures, if you want to call it, but most of their homes were made out of dirt that they built their own cinder blocks, and straw, and some rocks. And I want to talk to you about Anna. That's Anna. A single mother, abused 3 children, and I knew about this term, but I never had seen a person that close. She was an adult orphan. She had no family. She had no parents. And when her place was so high up in the hill, because she had nothing, and somebody donated to her a little piece of land so she could plant some food so she could eat. And again, like Karen said, she was abused, sexually abused, and you could see it in her face. It was hard for her, for when she went to church, she was dressed with her Sabbath clothes. And she said that she had body aches for a long time, but because she didn't have access to even a Tylenol, she had to remain outside in pain all day long. It was now, something that she had learned to live with. And so I remember that in my backpack I took from home ibuprofen, and when Karen says, do you have it, it's quite impactful, because we got to see the need that people have, but most than everything else, we got to see that these people also, we got to meet our family that one day we're gonna meet in heaven. All these people that you see there, they were given the message of hope. We wish that we were able to give them more, but we, like I said, we gave them water filters, we gave them literature, we gave them clothing, and we gave them a completely different experience about missionaries, because they had a different mentality about missionaries. They said they come, but we never get to meet them. We got to meet them. We became part of their family. We became part of the community. We became part of that family of God. And all these people one day, don't forget their faces, because I truly believe that we're gonna meet them in heaven. And if you ever go there, if you tell them that you are from the Elmhurst Church, they know you already, and they're very thankful for your love in donating everything that you did for them. By the way, my name is Muikali, which means somebody who remains, somebody who lingers.
Hello, I'm Gabriel Muiti. That's my name. It means doctor, I found out. It looks like the time is almost finished, so I will be very short. I was in charge of the medical mission there, and I tried to make some disciples out of David and Hannah and her friend Ressa. So, to make my story very short, before leaving, I asked, how can we practice dentistry in Kenya? So I found out that I need a Kenyan license. So now I'm a licensed dentist in Kenya, because we had to have that license. It took some time. I got there and said, I will not leave this place until I have that license in my hand, because we already lost a few days of work. Finally, we were able to start our work. Now, let me tell you a little bit about working as a dentist in Kenya. It's a little bit different than here. We were able to secure a place in a government office that they said is the second best dental office, government-owned office in Kenya. They had a few chairs, but 3 of them were not working. The compressor was failing every day. The curing light worked just for a few seconds, and suction was almost unusable. That was not suction. So you imagine in a population where there is a lot of HIV, you have to work close to people that may have the virus, even though nobody's telling you, and you have to be very careful to protect yourself and your assistants. So suction is not working, and you have everything splashing all over. The poor people had to spit in buckets of water after we extracted the teeth. Quite of a traumatic experience, not for me that much, but for my assistants, that I'm not sure if Hannah really wants to be a dentist anymore. I have doubts about David now. He said, Dad, I want to do some other type of surgery, but not this one. I don't know, Ressa, what she said, but they survived for a day. After that, I was left with David, that was at my side the rest of the experience there. Imagine a large group of people that smile with no teeth, or half teeth, or dark teeth, or decayed teeth, or living in pain. I don't know how they survive. Because we had screenings in the village, and I saw hundreds of people hoping that most of them will be able to come and get some treatment. And in the beginning, I was looking for problems, make lists of what we have to do. Toward the end, I said, everybody can go, because there was nobody that had intact dentition in there. Quite an experience. Consider yourself to be blessed in this country where you have dentists and you have dental offices. Let's see what pictures we have here. The first one is, are these working? It's God for microphones. Not even the microphones work in Kenya very long most of the time. The first picture, I was asked to do a presentation. The first Sabbath, I talked about teeth and about dental hygiene. The second Sabbath, I figured it out that they need some other things too. So I changed the topic. I chose to talk about sugar. I asked them, do you drink Pepsi Cola? I knew they didn't have water, so I didn't expect them to say, oh yeah, we don't know what Pepsi Cola is or Coca-Cola. And most of them, they said, yeah, we do. So I talked about sugar and what those drinks are doing to their teeth. And another thing that I noticed in the community, that they have a lot of fried food. So I talked about the correlation between fried food and disease and heart problems and atherosclerosis and stuff like that. These are not. Now, these are pictures from. Okay, now it's starting here. This is a screening session. That's a teacher in the school taking notes of what we have to do on the poor victims next time. This is how it looked to do screening in the village. This is the cleaning, right there, upper top left. A good place, but inside was not that good. You see Reza, you see me, you see Reza again, you see Hannah. And this is how we were doing, right there in the middle, doing extractions. A chair that was not going back all the way, so I had to follow the position of the chair. Not very comfortable, but you have to do it. This was my Kenyan assistant. He was the assistant of the clinic. Very nice guy. And David noticed that every time I was doing something and I was telling David, oh, we do this way, and he was right there, yeah, that's good, yeah. Anesthesia, one of the happy days when I was able to do some work. You see they're doing a filling in somebody. I think we had only 2 days where we were able to use those chairs because there was no compressor working, pressure, suction, like I told before. Most of the time we spent doing extractions, and I'll go back. Doing extractions to imagine the need. On Sunday, we were able to use the cleaning 5 days, 5 hours, or 6 hours. In the other days, we were there from 3 to whatever, maybe 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, in the evening, not morning. On Sunday, we had a group of 40 people that were brought with a bus to the clinic. 40-something people. I did 60 extractions in 6 hours. That means like an extraction every 6 minutes. That's quite of an experience. I don't think I extracted that many teeth in my life. And I'm practicing for 20 years, but so many extractions. I mean, everything you can do was almost an extraction. We did a few hundred extractions. We did some feelings, not too many because we didn't have the conditions. But those people were very, very, very thankful. And after we left, they were still, they kept on asking, what is the doctor? When do we have screening? I need this and I need this. So I go through the village and people are coming to me and this one hurts, this one hurts. We had people in the clinic and I was forced to just address the most or the painful teeth because that was all I could do. So imagine this, you have somebody in the chair and I said, open your mouth. They opened their mouth. I said, which one hurts? He said, I mean everywhere. I said, I cannot take all of them out. The most I did was like 6 teeth in a patient. But it's a lot of pain. And it's a lot of need. And I think those people were very, very, very thankful for the help that they got. Next time, I guess we can do more. But this is an encouragement for all of you. If you can participate in something like that, do it. If you are tempted to say, I don't know what I can do there, I assure you there is plenty of work to do.
Happy Sabbath. During the safari, we were able to witness God's creations and how He made places like the Masamari becomes.
So this is their version of a toll booth. So every time we'd pull up in our van, they'd make us pay some cash, and then we'd be on our way. Otherwise, we'd be stuck on a very, very bumpy road. So we went through those there and back. This was an introduction to the park when we would drive up there. And then this was during the second day, our full day game drive. So this van, which we're working on right here, this is the van that my family was in, Clarissa, Cece, and Debbie. So what had happened was when we're driving, there's usually like a big group of other vans that are nearby, so we went to see what was going on, and there happened to be a cheetah right there. So we went to go see the cheetah, but every time we get up and down, as if it was gonna go after like a little warthog that was just trotting around. But so we moved on from the cheetah, and we heard like something like crack. So it just so happened that there was like a spring in our van that had snapped, and there was a cheetah not too far from us. So we had to work on that. And then beforehand, on that top left picture, the same van that I was in, we had a flat tire. And there happened to be a lion on the other side of the bushes. So we had to fix that, ran out of gas in a different van, so it was definitely an adventure. And then this one, my van again, we got stuck while trying to cross like a little, I wouldn't say a river, but just like a stream, yeah. So our van got stuck so that everybody else and the surrounding people came and they rocked our van back and forth until we got through. So thank God that we got through that safely. And then this is a picture that we got. We got the safe from the drivers for us to take that. So it was definitely a different experience. It was an experience that was amazing, actually. And then this is the camp that we stayed at. It was called the Inshoro Wildlife Camp. And then these are the tents that they looked like. And then these are some of the pictures. So the pictures of the cheetahs, this is the same cheetah that was just a couple feet away from us when the spring had broke. This is just some of the giraffes that we saw. We saw elephants, wildebeests, baboons, zebras, whatever you can name it. And then this right here is a picture of a lion that was actually 4 feet away from us. It was just hiding in the bushes, so we pulled up really close next to the line, and then if you looked out the window, it was just right there. So it was really cool getting to see these animals very up close. And then I believe this was the second day as well. Early in the morning, we had saw a female lion had just feasted on a wildebeest. So that was pretty cool. And then these are all the elephants that we saw. This was also during the full day game drive. Down there where that hippo is, that spot is the river. And in that river is where the wildebeest crossed from Tanzania over into Kenya. So there's just piles of just like dead carcasses just along the river from them trying to cross, and then there was hippos and massive crocodiles that would stand there waiting for them. And then these are some of the wildebeests and the zebras that we saw. We also saw some ostriches. I think that's an anteater. A baboon. A baboon is actually took our leftover lunch. When we were finished with that, just took it and ran off. So we got to see that pretty up close. And wildebeest, we saw thousands of wildebeest when there's probably millions from between Kenya and Tanzania just crossing during the migration season. And then this was a, what do you call them? Leopard, yeah. This is a leopard that we saw. There was actually 2 of them, but the other one was hiding. So this was the leopard that we saw when we were leaving lunch, just hiding in the river. And then some hyenas, some antelopes. We saw a lot of those. This hyena was actually pretty close as well, just because of where we were positioned. And then on the last day, we went to the Maasai village, so we got to see how they lived. So the way that they live is they build their houses out of cow dung and clay. So those last about 8 to 9 years, and they move on to another location after that due to termites. And then they only have a really small window just because of mosquitoes, so it helps them with that. And the installation is actually pretty good just because when you go inside, it may be completely dark during the day, but the warmth in there is outstanding, even though of how small it is inside. We got to buy some products that they make. They make blankets, bracelets, all types of jewelry, and we got to see how they lived. We also got to dance with them as well. I did, my brother did, a lot of us did. So, and then that's what the huts look like. And then they cherish the cows, so they like to keep the cows inside, and it's surrounded by pointy shrubs so they don't get attacked. And that's some more from this village. You see all of them. This is during the dancing of the villages. And then I would like to invite Pastor up to evangelism.
First of all, before I start, I'm just going to say one thing here. All of this started in a kitchen during. I'd like to tell you, okay? Oh, there is also hospitality. Who is speaking about that? Oh, I'm speaking about hospitality. Whoa. Okay, I do have some. Okay, let me just tell you. This is the place that we were staying. Here is the Susan. She's the mother of our dear brother Willie, and we stay at her home. They treated us. This is why I wanted to start. It was evangelism to us. They treated us like we were kings, and I never saw that in my life. Their home was open that anybody could come there. People were coming. They knew that we were there from the village. There was a place for everybody, and there was a food for everybody there. The food was delicious. They made that food and we were eating. It was so natural, no preservatives, nothing else. It was amazing food that you can eat, the healthiest food that you can eat except the fried stuff. Okay, but all right. So, but this is not a talk about health and everything. Now, also, one thing that I was so impressed, we were coming, we came there, it was early in the morning, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe 4 o'clock, when we arrived, and we arrived there, and there were still workers working there. Do you know what his mom did? Every room that she had in her house, she wanted in every room to build a shower and a bathroom. I don't know who would do that. She just rearranged totally her house so that she can accommodate us, that we can have a place that we can have tea. Some of those, they didn't work. They were not connected. But just the gesture to do such a thing, this was, I mean, you heard from other people, they're telling you, yes, we did this, we did this. And this is not a phrase that we are repeating. They did much more to us than we did to them. So that was like giving, whatever they have. You heard from Sister Karen as they were giving to us. Can you switch to the other slides, please, now? And because I'm going to show you this family, because I put it there so that you can see them and that you can know who they are. No, it's not that. Totally the other, but that's okay. The other sets of slides up there. So if that is coming on, is Jen up there? He knows exactly what it is. It is on a screen on the right. Yes, that's what it is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I know that some people are leaving and everything. I wanted to tell you, this is the family. Mom, Susan, this is the mother that is in white, right sitting in the middle. That is the mom of Elder Billy. You have his sister Rebecca, Ellen, Joyce, Alice, Joseph, Jos, and Tobias. Those are the people who did, anytime you need a drive, they are going to drive you. You need this, you need that. They were totally 100% available to us. And that was tremendous ministry to us. Another picture of the family, this beautiful family, and then we also, this is all together with us. This is the first group. I have only that picture when we were together with them taking this picture. And then we went to see Karen's family. Also, we were treated like kings and queens in their home to see. This is her family. Look at this. When I saw her sister, I saw immediately the one up there. I said, that's Karen. And that's her mother here and all the family that they were there. I have another picture of them. Look at these beautiful smiles and their generosity that they gave to us. Now, now, I would like to tell you a few stories because all that I'm going to speak about evangelism is this, that you can see these faces. Pictures speak more than anything else. And I know that people are ready to go. My wife is telling me it's over. I receive a number of letters. For example, the letter from the pastor from your church, Sister Karen, Pastor Musa. He said, on behalf of myself, the elders, the members, and the choir of Musa Seventh-day Adventist Church, wish to sincerely express our heartfelt gratitude for the gesture you extended to us during your recent visit to Kenya. We say a big thank you for the donation of plastic chairs and the water filtration buckets and eating with us our African food. Truly speaking, the people who were blessed to receive the filters are saying they're very nice and the filtered water tastes really good. This, in effect, has led to some of them testify to me they have improved their daily water drinking habits because they couldn't filtrate water. Now, when they do have, they're drinking much more water. This, in effect, has led to reduction of stomach-related illnesses. The only challenge we experience is that those who did not get the filters were asking where they can get or buy them. Our wish is that you plan to come back and bring us more water filters. And it goes on. This was from your relative also, another letter, the Reverend Leah, all the letters, Pastor Nogoy, and everybody, they were talking about this. And I'm in communication with them, and all of them, they are telling us it has to be one more trip. We need more, not just of us, we need more, because what we started is just the beginning. So look at this. This is, evangelism was not just speaking to them. Evangelism was connecting to the people. Benedict on this side, this is the man who is the head deacon of the church. Just the day when we arrived, that day was the funeral of his daughter. His daughter committed suicide. It was the most difficult thing that this man could experience. And you know what? He stuck with us. From early in the morning, this was his way of dealing with his pain. And when we left, the people told me, he was alone, he was lost. He was back to his own. And totally. So just doing all of those things, just showing this little kindness to people, this is what Jesus said. When you did to this of the least two ones, you did it to me. And I'm just going to show you the pictures. This was the evangelism. This village there and the people around there, everybody is talking. There is so much work for the pastor and the people there to continue right now. Because they saw those things, but I'm just going to tell you, see, when Cortland is working, and Luke and Mick, and when we were there, the man who was working with me there on that field, he came to me, he said, I never thought that the white man will come and work the same way as we do. And I was like, wow. And by the way, these people, they work all day. They go much earlier than us and go in the evening for $5 a day. That is for them, at least to have something. So this was, look at these kids. I took it from behind, I didn't know. They wear these clothes year after year. And just to receive a little thing, it meant so much for them. And again, getting the water, something that there is no disease, that they can now know that they can have a clean water. Something that we take for granted for them meant a lot. And the people that night when we were giving to the villagers, they were so desperate for this. This was the only incident that I saw, that the ladies, when they were signing their name, they start little, it was not a fight, but they just started grabbing the paper fight. So I came to them, I said, ladies, don't disappoint us. We don't want to see. But they are so desperate that they could have those things. So that was what was happening. Now look at it. Only pictures can speak than thousands of words. And now you go, look at this connection. That is connecting with people, being with these people, doing the work, the same work as they are doing, and they were watching us, and everybody was talking about this. So these are, I go quickly so you can see. This is from this side of the wall, and David from the other side of the wall. Luke is presenting also for them the health message. Sister Judy presenting the message. Look at this beautiful young man from our church. They are dressed for Sabbath morning, and they are going to the church, and they did amazing. The president of their conference, who have more churches, who have almost the same amount of churches in North American division. He's so busy and so many members. He took the time that morning to come and to thank us publicly. This is the president who came to thank us for what we did for them. And ministering to these people, to these children, they did much more to us. Cortland is playing. What is he playing? Guitar, Cortland? That's what I said. It was beautiful. And then those pieces that you heard in the homes and everything, connection, being with these people, picture speaks thousands of words. This man, he's from a Maasai tribe. His name is Jacob. I need to tell you this story because it is so personal to me. We went to his home and everything, and he's 20 years old, he's not married. His time is ticking. Because they have, by the age of 20, they have, since you pass the age of 10, you go to the bachelor house, and by the age of 20, you need to get married. So he said he can bring somebody and everything, and I was asking him all kinds of questions. He said, you need to have at least 10 cows to bring the wife. Okay, so you need to give 10 cows and everything. And the conversation was done, and I asked him a million questions about culture and all the things, and then we are going, and he come to me and he posed a question. Can I marry your daughter? I said, Jacob was serious. I said, Jacob, we need to negotiate. So, true story, really. Hannah probably doesn't like that I'm telling this story. So look at this. This was evangelism, talking that somebody can spend all these hours and dealing with these people. It was unbelievable. And then, look at working with them. Come on the same and working with the people. Beautiful, beautiful. By the way, this lady from the church, she came and she wanted this picture. It is not because of me. She brought this chicken and she said, this is for you so that you can eat to have some food. Not for me personally, for our group. She was so happy that she can donate this chicken. Can you imagine? These people for bringing stuff that we could have something that we could have. Amazing people. Amazing. I wish that not that I don't love you or something, that I'm now spending the time with them this summer. Just to get the toothbrushes. It was amazing because they take some pieces of wood or something and that's how they brush their teeth. They don't have it. And look at Luke. Luke was diligent working. Our young people are amazing people. And I will tell you the last story. Again, toothbrushes. Look at these connections with people. Look at the most beautiful things that you can see. And also making friendship for eternity. I know that you saw some of them, but I'm going quickly. Now I'm going to finish this, the whole evangelism with this story. I was there and I know we were eating lunch and everything and I hear some commotion. And then I look what is going on there at the place where was this commotion. And suddenly I see Cortland without his shoes. I said, let me see what is going on. I see another man that I don't know him. I don't know if he's drunk or not, or what is going on with him, or maybe have some mental challenges or whatever it was. I see he's without shoes. And as I'm going there, then I see he's taking his own shoes. The man was without shoes, without anything, and he gives him his own shoes. And look at this, touched my heart. To see that we have people like this. Nobody told him, he just saw in his own, and he gave me, look at this picture, and look at the joy that he man received when he got his own shoes. And again, I'm going to finish only with this, and to tell you naked and clothe you. Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these my brethren, you did it to me. And I have to tell you, it is not the people who came. They gave so much to us. Yes, we give something, but you, every one of you, it is because of you. And I praise God, because of you, we were able to do this. And there is more work to be done. We will talk more about that. May God bless us all. I don't know if we are going to sing the song. Can we maybe just one stanza? It's too late. Because the song is, sister, I know the sister Linda chose from the old hymns, Viva Story to Tell to the Nations. And it's a beautiful that you can have it on a screen and then we can have a closing prayer